Hello, and welcome to a tutorial about my clearance tunnel generator. The clearance tunnel generator is a tool I made with Blender that allows you to generate a clearance envelope shaped tunnel around your coaster track. This way you can see even in the editor whether or not something violates your coaster's clearance or not. All you need is No Limits 2, of course. You need Blender and a specific add-on. The downloading process of Blender and the installation of the add-on is described in detail in this tutorial. Using the generator does not require any prior experience in Blender. But how does it work? Let's find out. Before you can start with generating a clearance tunnel, you need two things. You need Blender and a specific add-on for Blender. So I'm going to show you how you download that. So you obviously type in Blender and go to Downloads here, and you click this blue button unless you use macOS, Linux or any other operating system. Clicking here will start the download. After it's completed, you just need to execute the file and follow the installation instructions. The second thing you need is the LVO importer add-on for Blender. So you can go into the description, there is a link to that specific add-on, and I'm going to open that now. And that is automatically going to download the add-on. So next we need to install the add-on in Blender. We're going to do that by clicking on the Edit button up here, clicking on Preferences in the add-on section and clicking on Install. The add-on is most likely going to be in the Downloads folder, and I have quite a bit here. Let me see if I can find it. Yes, it's here. I've downloaded it a couple of times because this is not the first time I'm recording this. So I'm going to install it now. And this window here is going to change, and now all we need to do is to check this checkbox to enable the add-on. So, how are we going to use the generator? The first step is to export the coaster layout we want to generate a clearance tunnel for. So, you need to open NL2, you need to go into the editor and open the park your coaster is inside of, and to export the correct coaster it needs to be selected in the coaster tab. So in this park I only have one coaster, it's the demo coaster, it's this one here, and it's obviously going to choose that all the time, but if you have multiple coasters you want to make sure it's the correct one is selected. Next we want to go into the Advanced tab. Inside the Advanced tab we want to click on Light Pattern Creator. That opens this window. We don't want to change a lot of settings here. All we want to change is this checkbox, so that it actually generates an object. And you maybe want to change this file prefix. What the file prefix does is it gives the files that correspond to this specific light pattern object, and it helps to differentiate different light pattern objects. So I'm actually going to do that just for the sake of it, and I'm going to call it Demo Dive. Next we want to hit Generate, and now all we have to do is to select a folder. I would actually recommend to create a folder inside your park folder. So if I click on Park Base, it automatically jumps to the folder this park is inside of, and I create a new folder and I'm going to call it Clearance Tunnel, and I hit OK and I click Select, and now we are done in No Limits. The layout is now exported. The next step is to import our layout into Blender, and for that we first of all need to open Blender, of course. To open the Clearance Tunnel Generator blend file, we first click on File, click on Open, and we navigate to where we saved it. So it's in this folder here, and in the clearance tunnel generator folder. And we click here and we click on open. What we first need to do to import our layout is to make sure that this collection up here, the spline/light pattern object collection, is selected. It is already selected now because it has this circle around it, which we others don't. But just to be sure, in case you misclicked somewhere before, click on that again to make sure it's selected. The reason we do this is because we want our imported track layout to be placed in this collection, and it gets placed automatically after importing in whatever collection you selected. This is very important because otherwise it gets lost somewhere in the other collections. To import our layout, we first click on File, go to Import, and go all the way down to lightwaveobject.lvo. Now we need to go into our Bugs folder. This is once again the non-limit clearance tunnel generator. Go into Clearance Tunnel and click on demodiveobject.lvo. If you chose another prefix other than demodive, this file will be called slightly differently. The important thing is it's the LVO file. All the other files are basically useless to us. Click Import, and now we are greeted with this window here. Apparently the add-on is looking for an image which it can't find. I'm not sure why it does that, but it does not matter to us. We can click OK, and when this window opens here, we just can click Cancel Search, this checkbox right there, and select Image Search Path. And that will ignore the image search. Alright, so you already are seeing that the clearance tunnel is getting generated. And now we are getting to the interesting part. And we are coming back to this list here. You probably will need to change a few settings for the clearance tunnel. In order to do that, we first need to click the object and click on this little blue wrench here, which opens the modifier settings. And as you can see, there are 3 settings. One setting is the coaster type, the next is the whether or not we want to use the light pattern object, and the third is whether or not we want to use a double-sided tunnel. The coaster type number is the number in this list. So you have all the no limits coaster types in here, and in addition to that there are some few popular modded and custom trains which are at the bottom of the list. The rest of the coasters are in the same order they are in No Limits 2, just named slightly differently to match what they're actually called in real life. So in our case, this is a B&M dive coaster, and it has the water scoops. So we want to look, where is this coaster located in our list? And we go down and see, aha, this is the B&M dive with scoops. It's number 26. I already entered number 26. And let's say in case we had another coaster, like let's say this is an B&M Hyper, obviously isn't, but for the sake of it, let's pretend, and that would be the number 12. And if we enter with number 12 here, we get a completely different clearance envelope, which fits the B&M Hyper trains. But since we have a dive coaster, I'm changing that back to 26. The next setting, the use light pattern object, it should be set to 1 because we are going to use the light pattern object. This generator also works with the splines that NL2 Pro can export, for example. If you want to use that for whatever reason, you can just place a spline in the spline/light pattern object collection and just set this to 0. And as you can see, the clearance tunnel vanishes because there is no spline in here, and Blender's looking for a spline, can't find any, so it just doesn't generate anything. And the last question is whether or not we want a double-sided tunnel. So this comes probably down to personal preference. If we set this to 0, you can see I can look from the outside into the tunnel. from whatever angle, because the faces of the tunnel are solid on the inside of the tunnel and aren't on the outside. So you always can look inside. I personally like this more, but what you also can do is to make the tunnel double-sided, so both the inside and the outside are solid and can't be looked through. Alright, so choose these settings here to whatever you want or whatever fits your personal project best, and we are done with generating. And what we do now is we export our clearance tunnel to no limits. So we do that by selecting our object, go to File, click on Export and Collada. Here in the main section we click Selection only, because otherwise all the other objects in the blend file get exported alongside with it. And then we need to click on Geometry, or Geom in this case, and click Apply Modifiers, so the generated result actually gets exported. And now we need to choose a location. I'm going to use the Bitbucket folder again. And I'm just going to place it in here. And you can see exported one object. And that means we are good to go with our next step. And now the last step is to get the tunnel into the limits. And that is really simple. For that, we obviously want to go back into our park, and we want to click on Scenery. On NL2 SCO editor, we want to click on New and enter a name. I would say I'd call it Clearance Tunnel. If you are going to use multiple clearance tunnels in your park at the same time, for different coasters for example, I would just give this a different name, like maybe Clearance Tunnel Dive Demo or something like that. Click on Save, and now it wants us to select a 3D model file, and since it's already in the same folder as the scenery object is going to be, we just have it selected here. We can click on it and click on Open and click on Save and close this window. Now we need to click on Choose and click on Scenery Tunnel Dive Demo. This is the name I gave the scenery object. Click OK, click on Add Object, and now click anywhere in the park. This will take a second to load probably. And now we only need to double click the object and enter 0, 0 and 0 in the X, Y and Z positions. And now it perfectly matches our coaster, and we can begin clearance checking. So the way the clearance checking is going to work is you have your coaster, and instead of using the perspective view, you are going to use the track view, and you're just going to press W, and this will follow the coaster track. And already we can see that something, sticks inside our track here, so this is a problem. We probably would want to fix that. And we are just going to continue along the track. Oh, here's something sticking inside the track again. So the track is overlapping, or rather the track clearances are overlapping with each other. So there's nothing going really going on up here, so we don't have to worry about that. And this is looking fine. This is looking fine as well. Oops. This seems to be another side of what we already saw. So I think we already noticed this clearance revelation because I remember my layout, so it know where this part of it is placed, and it is really close to another part. But let us continue through the entire thing. It's the mid-course brake run. So this is that overbank, and the track goes under here. So we probably are going to see... Oh, this is also something sticking inside here. But we are probably going to see something stick through the roof. or rather this side here. So I'm going to show you the exact locations from the outside in a bit. And this is the break. So we went through the entire coaster rather quickly. We noticed a few spots. So in this overbank here, this is where I said, oh, this sticks through the side, and this is the other side right here. So these are poking into each other. So this should either be lowered here or this should be raised a bit, because we actually have quite a bit of space above it. And we have this spot right here where the track clearances touch each other. So yeah, this is something you probably wouldn't even have noticed potentially if you were just clearance checking it normally. So I guess this tool actually helps quite a bit. So this tutorial was pretty long, I admit, but that doesn't mean that this method has to take long as well. And in fact, I'm going to show you how fast it actually is to use. So this is a coaster I made some time ago, and I'm pretty sure it doesn't violate clearances, but let's find out. So click on Advanced, click on Light Pattern Creator, click on Generate Object, click on this to give it a name, click on Generate, click on Park Base, make a folder, make a clearance. Okay, click Select. Open the generator. Click Import. Click Light with Object LVO. Go to Documents. Go to No Limits Parks. Go to this. Go to Clearance. Go to click OK. Click Cancel Search. Click on this object, click on the wrench and see where's the Mach Lounge. It's 21, select 21. Click File, click Export, click Collada, click Selection Only, click Apply Modifiers, click Documents, go back to the thing here, click Export, go back to No Limits, click on Scenery, click on NL2 SEO Editor, click on Clearance Tunnel. Let's save and click this file. Save again, close this window, click on Choose, click on Clearance Tunnel, click on Add. Hope this is the right one. Yes, it is. And set the position to 0, 0, and 0. And we are done. Now we need to clearance check. I'm going into the track view, just doing this really fast. Obviously the clearance fails with the catwalk, but coasters do it in real life as well, so it's fine. And so far everything looks good. No problems at all. Nothing here. This is a section where it could get a little close, because there's an uninverted loop and a track that goes between both sides of the loop, but it all looks well. Oh, this is a support that fails clearance, good to know. And the non-inverted loop is fine. This is fine. Now the supports are getting a bit closer again after the block break. There's the support clearance fail. And the arrow breaks. And this is the end. This is the station right here. And we are done clearance checking. So thank you for watching this tutorial, and thank you for downloading my clearance tunnel generator. I hope you have fun, and I can't wait to show you all the other nice Blender projects I have in store. Bye bye!